Coming up on today's show,
it was an opportunity in Rome to see all those who before us, were persecuted and were martyred for our faith. People don't do that for something that's not true.
Peace be with you. This is Catholic Sports Radio, located at the intersection of your faith life and sports life, and on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, the SiriusXM app, and lots of other platforms. I am Bruce Wozniak, talking with Catholic guests who are current or former athletes, coaches, referees, umpires, clergy, administrators, and more from the pro, amateur, and scholastic ranks about the intersection of their faith life and their sports life. The show website is catholicsportsradio.net or catholicsportsradio.com. They will both get you to the same place. Be sure that you have signed up there for the free e-newsletter that gets sent out every Monday. Social media for this show, Facebook, X, YouTube, and Instagram, all of which there are links for at the top of the website. I invite you to engage with me and the show through one or more of those. The Catholic Sports Radio community is the Facebook group whose members are both listeners and some past guests. There is no cost to join that. Below my picture, near the top of the homepage of catholicsportsradio.net, there is a white button that says Join Our Facebook Group. Tap or click on that to get taken there. I really enjoy hearing from listeners. Social media, as well as the website, all give you the opportunity to contact me, as does traditional email, which you can do through bruce@catholicsportsradio.net. Now on to my ministry moment for this episode. How many times have we heard the expression naturally gifted when someone is talking about an athlete? In fact, it is not uncommon for a member of the media, or heck, even a coach, to say that an athlete was destined to be a star in their sport. Sometimes they will go so far as to say that that player was born with the exemplary skills that fans regularly get to see on display. This is where it is important to keep in mind that even a long career of as much as 20 years is a rare thing these days. As gifted as an athlete might be, the fact is that they cannot and will not play their whole life. The good news is that we can all be lifelong sons and daughters of God. It is not something that will last a few years or quote-unquote only 20 years. In the New Testament, Ephesians chapter 1 says in verses 5 to 6, quote, He destined us for adoption to himself through Jesus Christ in accord with the favor of his will for the praise and glory of his grace that he granted us in the beloved, end quote. Or to read it from the New International Version, quote, In love he predestined us to be adopted as his sons through Jesus Christ in accordance with his pleasure and will to the praise of his glorious grace. Moving on now with this week's episode, my guest was selected by the Pittsburgh Penguins in the 1992 National Hockey League draft and went on to play with both them and the Minnesota Wild. Along the way in his professional hockey career, he also played for Cleveland and Kansas City of the International Hockey League and Syracuse, Adirondack, and Worcester of the American Hockey League. He also played 2 seasons in Switzerland. In 1996, he won a bronze medal playing for Team USA at the World Championships in Austria. He had played his college hockey at the University of Minnesota, and in his senior season there, won the Hobey Baker Award, given to the most outstanding collegiate hockey player in the NCAA. Prior to his time as a Golden Gopher, he had been named Minnesota Mr. Hockey as the most outstanding senior high school hockey player in that state. Welcome to Catholic Sports Radio, Brian Bonin.
Good morning, Bruce. Great to be here.
Brian, thank you for your time. I've been looking forward to this. Let's get started by having you share with us first where you were born and raised and what the family size was.
Born and raised in White Bear Lake, Minnesota, and grew up with a brother and a sister. I was the oldest.
Tell us about the presence of the Catholic faith in the Bonin household when you were a young boy, including any Catholic education you received.
Well, my mom and dad did a decent job with faith. I feel I was not catechized quite well, but had a very strong grandparent influence on my dad's side. So I would say they gave me an opportunity to understand the Catholic faith and to someday come back to it.
And you attended Catholic school as a youngster, I believe.
I did at St. Mary of the Lake in White Bear Lake, Minnesota. Great experience.
And what grades did you attend Catholic school for?
K through 6. The middle school had stopped right before I got there.
Oh, okay. It's a wonder that we never hear, whether seriously or jokingly, about Canada should make Minnesota one of its provinces, because if you grow up in Minnesota, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that, oh, you're going to play hockey. Brian, when a young student athlete wins Minnesota Mr. Hockey as the most outstanding senior high school hockey player, it's easy to assume that that was likely the only sport you played as a kid. Is that correct, or did you play anything else? But also, was there someone in particular that encouraged you to play hockey?
A great question. I'm 52 years old, so I don't know if that, for some of your listeners, like the era of growing up and running, around your neighborhood and playing every sport. I basically played sports in 4 different seasons.
Wow.
And hockey was just the winter season. My parents were both ski patrols, so I actually did downhill skiing as well, even in the winter.
Wow.
You had an opportunity to do multiple sports. So I played everything. I was also a skateboarder, built a big, huge skateboard ramp. We did all sorts of water sports, but I played baseball, soccer, tennis. I mean, you name it,
Wow.
we played it. Run around the neighborhood. What a great experience as a child.
So how did hockey emerge, other than the what I said half jokingly about, you're in Minnesota, of course you're going to play hockey. Was there someone that encouraged you? Was it just kind of the environment? What was it that made hockey the sport for you out of all those that you listed?
It was my father. He played a little bit of hockey, just a little bit in high school as well. So it was his influence, flooded a small rink in the side yard for some skating. And, that brought friends over in the neighborhood just to fool around, a little skating, a little tag, into a little bit of some hockey or boot hockey. And from that, you mentioned naturally gifted. Yeah, I had a gift in this silly sport of hockey, but, I loved it. And so working at it, practicing it, it was probably my favorite. But again, 3 months of the year only. So even here in Minnesota, where we flood rinks or skate on the lakes, it's very difficult to play outside of, December through March 1st.
Interesting. Talk to us about your college years. Obviously, you had a tremendous time at the University of Minnesota hockey-wise, 100 goals in 166 games there. Since it is not a Catholic school, and you said that you feel that your catechesis was borderline non-existent as a youngster, were you in fact all about hockey in those college years, and academics and something like faith were a distant second?
Yeah, great question. I was a student athlete. I was number 4 or 5 out of 500 in my high school class. So,
wow.
I was I worked hard at everything I did, and wasn't necessarily naturally gifted in my studies, but at good grades, good student. So that was an important choice, and why I chose Minnesota and the Institute of Technology there. I was a chemistry major, but my studies fell off there as well. Hockey was really the focus. And then faith-wise, I was not catechized at all, even in my grade school. Again, 52 years old, that era. I don't know if some of the listeners would agree. I can barely remember even some of the Bible stories, much less, the sacraments and how big of a deal those are to some of the people in my men's groups or others I speak with. So moving to the University of Minnesota, my parents weren't, pushing and talking about, Mass being, the most important piece of the week. If I came home, we always went to Mass on Sundays. But the University of Minnesota has a good Newman Center, and I'd stop by and visit here and there. But tired after a weekend of travel, and so you just miss Sunday morning masses, and I'm not even sure if there was a Sunday evening mass. I mean, that's all on me. Completely lazy. I look back and I'm very, very disappointed when I look at my 3 boys and what they do, and then when I look at my wife and her family. That's really a sad time of my life. I was so solely focused on sport And again, in your intro, it ends, and it ends very quickly. Mm-hmm. So I missed the opportunity that I had there.
Was the University of Minnesota, was that a scholarship situation? Were there other schools that you were pursuing? I'm just curious as to if you were intentional. Obviously, they historically have a great hockey program, but if there was anything conscious about staying close to home, were you looking at any schools that would have required you to move out of state and live on campus?
Yes, for my 5 visits, I went to Wisconsin, Maine, Harvard, and Notre Dame. And chose Minnesota mostly because my friends were here. You grow up playing against all these players here in Minnesota who play hockey, and then you get to be teammates with them. So that was a wonderful opportunity for me. So I think I just stuck close to home because of the program too. One of the tops in the country. So to play in your home state with some really great friends, it was too hard to say no to that.
Let's go back to getting drafted into the NHL by the Pittsburgh Penguins. What was your mindset going into the draft? How prayerful were you or weren't you? And then just take us through the excitement of getting that phone call that you were being drafted.
If I remember that day, we played golf, myself and a couple of buddies. And I can remember pulling into the driveway and my father saying, "Hey, you got a call from your agent." And the scout gave me a call too, because I got drafted in like the 9th round. I can't even remember. It was so late on in the draft. But being a high school player and committing to play college hockey, typically you would be a late draft pick because the junior players that play in Canada, when they're done playing junior hockey, they're just ready to play, professionally at a much younger age. If you play college, you're leaving at 22, 23 years old. So understood that I'd probably be drafted later. And there was an opportunity to maybe go play in Canada. And I said, no, thank you. Education was too important to me. And so exciting, but I don't want to say a letdown in the sense of there was a really good chance I was going to get drafted and didn't know which team. Was actually really excited about just playing college hockey. My dad was very good at keeping me focused on just the level of play I was at. And I never had any kind of unreal expectations, I don't think. Pro hockey was a dream, but I don't think I even knew that reality at the time.
Wow.
Nor was I thinking that's something I was going to do someday. So I had for as good as I was, I think I was quite humble in some ways, because when I even went to Minnesota, my first year there, I just wanted to fit in. I just was hopeful to play 4 years. I had no expectation that I was going to. Did I think I was better than my classmates or some guys above me? Yes, but not like so much better that, hey, I'm here and my ego's in the way. And and I think that actually cost me in Pittsburgh. We'll get to that later. But and so it's quite interesting to think back to those times and say, how great was it to get drafted by Pittsburgh? Well, it was cool, but they weren't wooing me or calling me or doing some sort of combine and testing me. And they had just won 2 Stanley Cups. So kind of cool. But they also sent me a jersey in the mail, and on the back side of the jersey, no name and no number.
Oh.
And I don't know if you noticed today, but usually they'll put your last name and the year.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I look back at that and I almost chuckled, like, for being not so excited about it, because who knows what's going to happen in your hockey career life. But I almost chuckled and said, like, thank you, but no thank you. Like, you literally sent me a kid's jersey.
Wow.
Like, come on, this is the NHL draft. Like,
wow.
it kind of is a big deal. So they made it a small deal. But it is in life, right?
But that story, though, I love the sense of humility, and it sounds like that came from your father. And audience, if you've been with me for a long time, thank you. And that's something that very much resonates with me, and that's the part that I took away from Brian's story, is the humility and not going to Minnesota and thinking, you're welcome, I'm here to be the savior of the hockey program. So good testimony. And friends, it bears repeating that Brian attended St. Mary of the Lake Catholic School through 6th grade. Some guests come on the show and had an entirely Catholic-only education, meaning through high school and even college. My opinion is every little bit helps. Alliance Catholic Credit Union is a proud sponsor of Catholic Sports Radio, and when you become a member of Alliance Catholic Credit Union, you are helping to support Catholic education. Through Alliance Catholic Foundation, they provide over $50,000 in scholarships every year to families, Catholic high school students, and young people pursuing a college degree. By becoming a friend of the foundation, you help support this work and are eligible to take advantage of all the benefits offered by Alliance Catholic Credit Union. Learn more at alliancecatholic.com. Alliance Catholic Credit Union, a financial home for Catholics where banking feels like a blessing. Federally insured by NCUA. Be sure to tell them you heard about them on Catholic Sports Radio. Friends, I feel like I've been in a metaphoric hockey fight or boxing match or in the WWE ring. I try to keep getting up off the mat only to face another unexpected knockdown in the form of another bill coming in for my Catholic Sports Radio ministry. Out of those sports that I mentioned, I wish it was a hockey game so that I would at least get the intermission between periods to regroup. The last couple weeks, you have heard me mention about wanting to fundraise to be able to go to the retreat that I've been invited to in Southern California in December. But now I was just notified via email that the annual renewal is hitting for the email marketing platform that I use for the weekly e-newsletter and the mailing list that goes with that, all to the tune of $135. For someone that does all of this as a way to give back to the church with my time and talent, meaning it is neither my full nor my part-time job, which means that I do not get any income for doing this show, $135 is a lot for me to have to find a way out of my own pocket to cover. Call me stubborn, I would rather say devoted, but it is important to me that we keep this ministry both going and growing. If you appreciate the work that I am doing, if you enjoy Catholic Sports Radio, if it is helping you in your faith life, if you believe in this mix of faith and sports, I would ask you to prayerfully consider supporting my ministry through a financial gift and help me with all these expenses. You can do so via the blue Donate to CSR button on the homepage of CatholicSportsRadio.net. That method is fast, it is easy, and it is secure. It will allow you to use your credit card, debit card, or even PayPal, and you type in whatever amount you want. There is no drop-down list of amounts to choose from. Alternatively, and here's where I think of people who do not like putting credit card information on the internet, you can write to me through the website, social media, or by emailing me through bruce@catholicsportsradio.net for information on sending a check through the mail. And then, as you have heard me do when guests or listeners have made a gift to Catholic Sports Radio, with your permission, I will happily say your name on an upcoming episode of the show as a public thanks, or as some have asked me to do, you can direct me to keep it anonymous. I am grateful for your prayerful consideration to include this ministry as part of your tithing, as I continue working to bring us all closer to Jesus through the mix of faith and sports. Brian, before all that, you told us about getting drafted by the Pittsburgh Penguins. Take us from 1996 to 2005 and playing for 2 NHL teams, 2 IHL teams, 3 AHL teams, and 2 seasons with a team over in Switzerland. How did you navigate all that change mentally, spiritually, and even hockey-wise?
That was quite a challenge. I was quite excited to start my professional career, thinking that I could move on from the college ranks and not only get paid, but not have to go to school anymore. So I was all excited about this and quickly realized much more enjoyable to have a team you're with for 4 years, a opportunity to get educated, and then, of course, being on a campus with all of your friends and classmates who show up to the games or, head over to a football game, basketball game, volleyball game, you name it. So that changed quite quickly. Started off with, I won the Hobey Baker Award. And oftentimes in hockey, at the end of the season, college hockey season, NHL teams would call up a player or two, or they would sign them to a contract, whether they were coming from Canada or the U.S., just to get acclimated in the locker room, in the couple practices, maybe even get in an NHL playoff game. And so I would tell you that my confidence in that happening was quite high. And it did not happen. And it was very disappointing. Again, my expectations, no one else's. Number two, I had come off, that Hobey Baker season. So looking around at some of my other kind of past teammates or competitors on other teams, I thought I would, again, get that opportunity. Usually when a team would sign you to a contract that early, it meant they liked you. So say what you will about that, but there is something to be said about signing that contract early. I'd also come off the World Championships in Vienna, and usually they'd take a couple college hockey players. So winning Hobey Baker gave me that opportunity. I played okay over there, so that was an enjoyable experience. But I lay that groundwork because then during the summer, negotiating a contract with the Penguins, it got drawn out, and they didn't want to pay me the market rate. And, I just wanted to go to training camp. I was super excited to be there with Mario Lemieux and Jaromir Jagr, two of the best players of all time. So I'm just fired up to get there. And my agent, thank goodness he's in the way, so I don't hear all the things about how much they don't like me. And he's like, hey, we have to keep this market rate. We're not going to ask for too much money. And the back and forth and back and forth. And I would have thought they really wanted me, or they could let you go to free agency. And challenge there is, if Pittsburgh lets me go and I play well somewhere else, that's not going to look good. So they continued to push, and I can't remember exactly, but like 1 week late to training camp. For all the listeners, that's the worst thing you could do on multiple fronts. Maybe a little bit of it too, because I had won the Hobey Baker. I was now worried that they were going to think I was this really arrogant, young kid coming in who thought he deserved a spot. My signing bonus was $110,000. That's it. And I say that to listeners because soon after this, contracts increased very quickly in hockey. We had 2 different lockouts. So at this time, there just wasn't a whole lot of money there. And all I was asking for, if I were to think back, was like maybe 150 or 200,000. And again, to the listeners, you might say, oh, that's a lot of money. Part of the hold on that is you got to hold the line, because if I take less, then everybody else has to take less. So it wasn't an ego. It was just, hey, if I take, 25,000, then you already start off with them kind of winning that war.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a game, gamesmanship behind the scenes. Fast forward, I go to training camp. I come in late. So now I'm already behind. Who's this young kid? Who do you think he is? Well, I'm self-conscious on this with all the players. Like, listen, guys, I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody. I was certainly humble in that sense and trying to be confident. And I never got that confidence that I needed. And so for the 3 years in Pittsburgh, playing up and down in Cleveland, Kansas City, Adirondack, there was a lot of movement because Pittsburgh was going through bankruptcy.
Oh, boy.
So it was a complete mess. Sometimes you didn't get your paycheck. Complete mess. Wow. Up and down, all over. I guess the only thing that got me through it was some drive, and then I had met my now wife right before I went to training camp. And so she came and visited a couple times, and then after that first year we got married, and she came with me the second year. In the travels, though, up and down, man, very, very challenging to someone who was on the top of the world, one of the best players in the country at the level I was at, and just wanted a chance, just wanted an opportunity to play. So the challenge of coming late, and then I got sent to Cleveland that first year, which was a great opportunity. The only challenge was back then we also were going through in hockey the process to merge the American Hockey League, which is where most of the NHL teams put their minor league players, and the IHL, the International Hockey League, which is what Cleveland was a part of. And that league had tried to compete against the NHL, and it didn't work, so they became kind of a minor league. But it was a lot of, do I dare say, has-beens. So my team was full of unbelievable hockey players, but were just basically almost done with their careers, or a few players, maybe were still playing kind of in the minor league affiliate. So what happened was I was playing very well, but I came down and the Cleveland team had all these players under contract. And so for Cleveland, for the fans, for the owner, he was going to play his players.
Wow.
So I only played like 60 games that year, and 60 might sound like a lot, but it's really hard when you play, 2 out of 3 games.
Yeah.
And you're playing on kind of the fourth line, when I was used to being, top line, top producer.
Wow.
So, for people who would say like, yeah, but you lived your dream. You were the best high school player. You were the best college player. You were, a pro player. Yeah, my ego took a huge hit. I mean, huge.
I'm sure.
It doesn't matter. When you climb the ladder, you always want more. So that crushed me. It absolutely crushed me. And I was not mentally strong enough for it. And I didn't have an ego and the confidence that you need in pro sports.
Wow.
You can't sit back and be humble in the sense of playing and thinking your buddy next door is going to do the same. It's very cutthroat. Only one of you is going to play.
Wow.
So that was very hard on me.
Wow. It feels like present day, we have seen more and more athletes be very open, some even quite public about their faith. Back in that 1996 to 2005 period when you were playing pro hockey in the various cities and leagues that I have mentioned, did you see guys talking openly about their faith, or were they quite private back then? And where were you on that scale, by the way?
Yeah, I was very private, I'd say, but I also, I basically have to say I had no faith. If somebody would have asked me, do you go to Mass on Sundays? The answer was yes. Do you believe in God? Yes. Do you believe in the one true faith? Yes. But in that, not very outspoken, but got very lucky. In Cleveland, we had a men's group, and they also had a faith group. And I think I was just so down on my luck. Something like that very much interested me. I had my, future wife, we went to Mass together. We were practicing our faith. And so that Christian group had in it one very outspoken guy on the team who was living his faith in the locker room, on the ice rink. And so extremely inspiring. His name's Mark Osborne, and I'd give him a ton of credit for my journey back to the faith. And I don't believe he's a Catholic, but the guy played hard on the ice. He fought. And he was this great Christian who would not swear. Would not swear.
Wow.
I don't know for your listeners or other athletes, it's very difficult to not swear in the locker room or on the ice. And I mean like almost impossible because you're competing at such a high level and people really make you angry and they cheat and you cheat and all that stuff that happens in sports that we love so much. But it's hard not to. So I got to tell you, I was so impressed with Mark Osborne.
I'm sure.
He allowed me to, in many ways, become this outspoken, Catholic that I am today.
You'd say that your journey back to being a practicing Catholic came from your wife. How so? And when did that reversion begin?
It began the day I met her.
Wow.
And so that's why I have to give a little credit to my parents who, at least raised me in the faith because I was looking for it. I know I was looking for it. And we all have these choices. So no matter how you're raised, we have that God-sized hole in our hearts, I believe. And I was looking for it. And so our conversations right away were serious, and they were about family and faith. And then as we dated, we went to Mass. She comes from a family in St. Cloud, Minnesota of 6 kids. And they all, Catholic schools all the way through college. And were catechized very well. But I've also learned, her parents did an amazing job. And those 6 kids made great choices. So I just got very lucky in that, in all these little things of our faith that are so unique to us and so wonderful. I was intrigued and interested and wanted to learn more, about the rosary, about adoration, about these things. It's like, what is my wife doing here, or my future wife doing here? Like, this is really, really cool. I miss this. Who kept this from me?
Wow.
So it was her. It was absolutely Rachel.
I love that story because it reminds me, well, I just love it, period, but it reminds me of when I was dating Wendy, who is my current wife. There was someone that I was very close with in my weekly Christian Business Connections group. And he said, "Do you think she's the one?" And I said, "I do." And he said, "Have you asked God if she's the one?" And so what I'm hearing in your story, Brian, is that it was very clear. It was very clear that God had ordained this woman to be your wife, and for more reasons than what it would appear on the surface. And then the two of you have moved forward, and you've gotten very involved with your parish. I've referred today to the places where you've gone as an athlete. In the lead up to today, you told me, quote, "For all the amazing hockey travel and privilege, nothing compares to Rome, my favorite place on earth," end quote. Tell the audience what that is a reference to.
Yeah, an unbelievable opportunity here 2 times in the last 3 years because my youngest 2 boys attended the University of St. Thomas in the Catholic Studies program. And they take get an opportunity. They both chose, and we didn't know if they would, to do a semester in Rome and study at the Angelicum. And for all the listeners, I got to tell you, it is heaven on earth. And what you can experience in Rome, in all of our faith, I mean, it is the pinnacle. And so we got an opportunity to go over with our second child, and then now here with our third. And our second child got an opportunity through the Angelicum, and he did the first reading at the Pope's Mass on Easter Sunday 3 years ago. Oh. And, I mean, what an experience. So you see life through the lens of our faith. And our boys got the opportunity to do that, even my oldest. But he had an opportunity through the University of St. Thomas to do this. And it just changed my whole perspective. It's always been there. I just wasn't making those choices. I didn't choose, and it's quite sad. I mean, it brings me to tears to say that. But it was an opportunity in Rome to see all those who before us, were persecuted and were martyred for our faith. People don't do that for something that's not true. They don't lay down their life for something that is not true. Some other people kill for it in the name of someone, but people don't typically lay down their own life for something like this. And you see it everywhere in Rome. So, 2 different times we've had the opportunity to go, and I'm very, very fortunate. So if you have a chance, listeners, Rome, and we spend our whole time in there both times. We don't travel around. We just stick in Rome and do only Rome. Wow. And so much to see. So very lucky in that sense that even though I tell you I don't like that word, right? We have opportunities every day to choose. Fortunate. So what a place.
Oh, powerful. And I want to do this closure justice by letting the audience see how you have in fact come full circle. You hinted before at a men's group. I know there's some other involvement that I just glossed over quickly. Just the 25 words or less version, if you can give the audience a snapshot of these different things that you have your hand in faith-wise away from just attending Sunday Mass.
Yeah. So my local parish, I'm in a men's group started by my really good friend Bill Lemaire, who has since passed. So I a lot of credit to Bill, who stepped up. And so we lead a group of 10 men. We've become very close, I think, for 15 years now. I'm on the Parish Finance Council and also on a fundraising board for St. John Vianney Seminary on the campus of the University of St. Thomas. That's the minor seminary in St. Paul, Minnesota. So, very, very involved here and excited to give back. I owe so much to the faith.
Beautiful. Let's close by having you share, you've mentioned Rachel already, but tell us how long the two of you have been in the sacrament of holy matrimony, as well as just a little bit more about the family that the two of you have made.
Yeah, so it'll be 29 years here at the end of August.
Wow.
So, yes, and again, life not without its trials and tribulations. What an opportunity the Lord, blessed us with children. We have 3 boys. Wish we would have been able to have more. Just very difficult pregnancies. But 3 wonderful boys. Ben is my oldest, 25. Just had my first grandson named Hugh Peter. So exciting to have a grandchild. They are practicing their faith. Just got married in the church at the cathedral in St. Paul. So we are so very proud of them. My second 2 boys are, Catholic studies major minors, and are so much stronger in their faith than I ever was. That's something I'm most proud of. But we're here still in White Bear Lake, Minnesota. My 3 boys are here in the state of Minnesota. So that's been a great opportunity for us. and now they'll be on making their own choices. They're all very excited to be married and have families. That's my hope in a legacy that the faith will carry on.
Wow, nicely said. Oh, great testimony. Brian, wonderful to have you on the show. Thank you ever so much for making time to be on Catholic Sports Radio. God bless you and your family.
Thank you. God bless you.
My pleasure. Audience, as a nod to all the years that Brian spent playing hockey, let's close this week's episode with one of our athletes' prayers and do that together right now in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Help me to play the game, dear Lord, with all my might and main. Grant me the courage born of right, a heart to stand the strain. Send me a sense of humor, Lord, to laugh when victory is mine, to laugh if I should meet defeat without a fret or whine. Give me the grace to follow rules, to fess up when I am wrong, when silence or some other thing wins plaudits from the throng. When foes are tough and fighting fierce and I am getting weak, dear God, don't ever let me show a broad, bright yellow streak. And teach me, Lord, life's game to play, just one day at a time. With Thee as coach and trainer, Lord, real victory must be mine. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thanks so much for listening. This is Catholic Sports Radio. Find more at catholicsportsradio.net, as well as on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Instagram. It is at Cath Sports Radio on all those, CATH, at Cath Sports Radio. I'm Bruce Wozniak, and remember, it's not whether you win or lose, it's that it's Jesus that you always choose.